Okay. Good morning to everyone. Welcome to your fiscal court. It's 9:30. We like to start on time. Sometimes we don't know about the ending time, but we'll do the best we can. The most important thing I like to do is bring up our guest pastor. Today we got Pastor Nate Young. He's with Mercy Hill Baptist Church. He's going to lead us in a prayer and then the pledge to the American flag. Let's stand. Good morning, brother.
Thank you. Romans 8, verse 31, we read, "What then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? He who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, how will he not also be with us graciously? Give us all things." Let's pray. Father, we thank you for your grace that you've given us, and I pray for the leaders of this community that you would help us to lead with conviction, that we wouldn't just be managers of people and finances, but we would be convinced of the truths that we find in your word, and that we would be broken for this city, and that we would lead for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so very much. If you need an agenda, it's back there on the back bench. If you have something you want to say, you're welcome to sign up on that sheet. Thank you. But you don't have to sign up. Again, it's your report. And next we have number 4, presentation and approval of bill. Magistrates in your packets are in your packet are the bills from the Judge Executive Office and then the bills from the Treasurer's Office. And for some of you all who have not been here before, these are the bills that your tax dollars pay. These are the bills that your property taxes on your land and your home pay.
Questions on the motion through the bill? Any questions?
No, well, the only question I have is, it looks like we're going through the cell phones, that Taylor Knox's bill went up. It should be being about $180-something, and this month was $497.09. But that's the only one that I felt was way above and beyond what was in. I suspect we could probably go ahead and vote on it, when she comes in. She may call her phone sort of higher than it has been.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I don't know if it's coming later on, like when we get to the, or if you want to wait, because people has to be paid anyway, doesn't it? Regardless of, yeah, I think we should clear and get to it.
Hey, Joe, you made a motion. I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion concerning the bills as presented from the Judge Executive's office? Other than that one, as noted. Magistrate Ashcroft. And Ms. Graham, you may call the roll.
Ms. Ashcroft?
Yes.
Mr. Hunt?
Yes.
Mr. Lasser? Mr. Bradshaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Roberts?
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you. And the Treasurer's office, Ms. Sharpson, will present the bills from that office.
and bills to the packet for the treasurer's office for day before November 14th. For your approval.
What were the totals in that?
The totals are, they're broken down within departments. Would you like the total amount, or would you like the department?
Well, I was just looking here, you got total 212, 540, 82.
Oh, those are not this. Those are the judge executives.
Oh.
Yeah.
I make a motion to pay the treasurer's bill.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion concerning the bills as presented by the treasurer's office? But again, paid for by taxpayers. And hearing none, Ms. Brandon, you may call the roll.
Ms. Ashcraft?
Yes.
Mr. Hunt?
Yes.
Mr. Laszlo?
Yes.
Mr. Bradshaw?
Yes.
Ms. Roberts?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
And also presented your packets for the treasurer's report, which included the monthly revenue journal, a warrant distribution, an appropriation condition report, a funds receipt report, an expenditure transfer report, a financial statement through October the 31st of 2013 for your approval. And also just a note, I'd like to give you a balance for the disbursement account as of October the 31st of 2013 was $2,971,170.79. For the LPA account was $233,198.96, and for the forest fire account was $51.81.
Make the motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion concerning the report completed by the treasurer's office? Ms. Shaw, is there anything that we need to know about concerning the treasurer's report that is a concern to you? Any questions? And Ms. Brandon, may call the roll.
Ms. Ashcraft?
Yes.
Mr. Hunt?
Yes.
Mr. Laszlo?
Yes.
Mr. Bradshaw?
Yes.
Ms. Roberts?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Shaw. Next, we have under presentations, Sheriff Greenwell is going to discuss the HRP fees collected. Take it away, Sheriff Greenwell.
Actually, John's name is
Chief Deputy John Hopple, welcome. Good morning to you. Good morning.
This report is for the month of October. Looks like we had 2 people, or 10 people hooked up, 9 in Ada County, 1 in Allen County. Looks like the total fees received for the month were $8,085. For the expense, the course off for $24.72. The sheriff's office portion of that money collected was $31.70. The county attorney's office was $16.40, and Fort County Fiscal Court was 1504. Again, that was just with 10 people being added for the month of October.
John, what was fiscal court's impact, what do we see?
$1,504.
Judge, if I can clarify, because that's.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
It's all of this court's intake. You have delegated this money to all of these, other agencies such as myself and the sheriff's office, to operate our budgets, but that's from your budget that you made that delegation.
But then, I mean, the fiscal court,
That's what you, the last part is what you retain.
That's what-
All the money is fiscal court's.
okay, but the fiscal court has retained $1,504.
Yes, I believe everybody received one of these packets and
Yes, we
okay,
did.
on the back page, the last person on it was Roseanne Ward. We had an expense of $176 for her monitoring fees. Ms. Ward is one of them that was extremely behind when we took it over. And that is an expense that we did not recoup. Looks like we still have her set up on a payment schedule when we took it over, and we recouped quite a bit of money she was behind, but this is all our part was paid out. Not explaining it. The expense we had of 176, we did not get back from her.
She's saying those were expenses prior to the sheriff.
Okay, is that it?
That's it.
Thank you. Any questions for the chief deputy? All right, thank you, John. Yes. Yes. Magistrate has informed me, and I appreciate that, Magistrate. Go back to number 6, approval of the minutes. Action is requested on the November the 5th, 2013 minutes. Let's just take one step at a time. Any,
That is one part of HIP.
to the minutes, off the HIT situation, all right. So November the 5th, do I hear,
There was some changes that needed to be made on there, and I gave, Teresa the papers that I gave Mark, if the magistrates have any others.
The total on the treasurer's bills is incorrect, so I'll fix that if there's anything else.
Some's just typos and extra little
Okay.
things on it, but that's all the biggest nails that.
so we got those squared away. Any other changes or modifications?
I had that marked on that you had told me about.
Okay, well, action is requested on the November 5th meeting minutes.
I make a motion to accept the meetings as they were given.
As amended?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? And Ms. Brandon, they call the roll.
Ms. Ashcraft?
Yes.
Mr. Hunt?
Yes.
Mr. Laszlo?
Yes.
Mr. Bradshaw?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes. Next, we have the November 7th meeting minutes. Any changes?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just.
Well, I don't care to go over each change unless you, the fiscal court, want to do those changes.
It was just that she
I
had
did
two
Tuesdays,
things
the
that
first,
she
and A and 2. We didn't get 4 a.m.
So that's it. I make a motion to accept the minutes for the November 7th meeting,
As amended.
as amended.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? And Ms. Brandon, you may call the roll.
Ms. Ashcraft?
Yes.
Mr. Hunt?
Yes.
Mr. Laszlo?
Yes.
Mr. Bradshaw?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Ms. Brandon. And County Attorney, go ahead.
Judge, I just wanted to go back real quick to the HIP issue while we were actually talking about it and give the public and the court an update since some of this has been in the press. On October 25th, fiscal court and the sheriff intervened and filed a motion to ask the judge to clarify an order placing a defendant on a HIP program. And we also ended up filing a motion to intervene in that. It has not been heard yet by the court. Last Friday, my office remanded those motions for the fact that the issue is now moot. The judge has made a ruling that takes, as far as I'm concerned, our issue out of it. I would like to read the notice of remand that we filed, just because of all the public interest, so everybody can be aware. And this is at the courthouse if you would like to have a copy of it. Intervening parties notice of remand of motions to intervene and alter, amend, or vacate. This matter is before the court subsequent to the filing of motions by the undersigned Bullock County attorney requesting permission to intervene in representation of interested parties, the Bullock County Fiscal Court, and the Bullock County Sheriff, and that the court pursuant to Civil Rule 5905, alter, amend, or vacate a final sentence of probation order signed on October 21st, 2013 in the above referenced cases. The motion to alter, amend, or vacate was written and filed pursuant to the Civil Rule 5905 and states action on the aggrieving order pending further consideration by the court. The motion was filed with notice to the parties to the action and with the understanding that the parties, through the plaintiff through the Commonwealth, Mike Mann, and the defendant through counsel Carol Lewis of the Department of Public Advocacy, consented to the county attorney and the sheriff being heard. Further, the undersigned acted as soon after the existence of the sentencing document was discovered and in response to a request for assistance and direction from the Office of the Bullock County Sheriff, which is tasked by the Fiscal Court with supervision of persons participating in the local home incarceration program. However, subsequent to the filing of our motion on October 25th, 2013, the undersigned learned that the order denominated full sentence of probation was not of record in the action and had not been distributed by the clerk to the parties. In fact, the aggrieving order was not made part of the record or distributed until October 28th, 2013. See the attached notice of remand copies of certified records from the Bullock Circuit Court clerk, which attest to the accuracy and veracity of the foregoing statement of fact. The predicate of the motion to alter, amend, or vacate the order denominated a final sentence of probation, which order was signed by the court on October 24th, 2013, was that the order with regard to HIP participation is ambiguous on its face in that it fails to include the conditions of release to be observed under the home incarceration, the report date, and how the matter of cost, not fees, for participation are to be compensated to Bullock County. The local home incarceration program is established by the Fiscal Court, which is contracted with Forsoft LLC for monitoring equipment, and the Bullock County Fiscal Court has authorized the sheriff to oversee the operation of the program and has adopted a fee schedule related to participation. A comprehensive policy and procedure manual has been developed, which outlines the processes for enrollment, monitoring, etc. for participants in the program. Somewhat elaborate participation agreements have been developed for in-county participants and out-of-county participants, and the matter of reduced fees for indigents in those categories is also addressed through the county, although the county has not agreed and does not agree that the cost for monitoring will be absorbed by the county. The Bullock Fiscal Court and the Bullock County Sheriff, by way of the motions to intervene, alter, amend, and vacate, sought clarification from the Bullock Circuit Court as to the following. Number one, under what specific terms and conditions is the individual to be monitored? Number two, to whom and by what means is the supervising authority to report apparent violations of conditions? Number three, as the county has not agreed to the monitoring costs for participants in the program, on what schedule is the defendant to reimburse the actual cost? Subsequent to the filing of the motion and in preparation for a hearing on the merits, a review of the court file reveals that the Bullock Circuit Court has rendered the issue moot by entering an order on October 30th, 2013, which places the defendant in home incarceration through the Bullock County Detention Center, presumably through the HIP program available to the Circuit Court through the Department of Corrections, which action relieves the Bullock County Sheriff of acting outside the scope of the duties authorized to him by the Bullock Fiscal Court, and relieves the Bullock Fiscal Court of expending county funds to monitor a state prisoner, which the Bullock Fiscal Court has not and does not agree to. As the intervening order addresses the concerns which the Bullock County Sheriff and the Bullock Fiscal Court wish to have clarified or altered, there is no basis to proceed on the motions filed for these entities, and the undersigned hereby remain said motions. And that's what the status of that is at this time. It is our understanding, based on what the judge said on the docket, that this defendant is in a home incarceration program. It is not being paid through the county. There are alternative programs available. The Department of Correction has one that contracts through probation and parole. I have the name of the company up here if anybody's interested in that. That was part of the confusion at the beginning when the order said this defendant to be put on home incarceration. It doesn't say whose home incarceration program. And our home incarceration program is a misdemeanor diversion program. The state has a home incarceration program available for state inmates. And that was all this was at the beginning. So we have remained that since the judge has taken it into his own hands to place her on another program.
Thank you, County Attorney. Any questions from the court? Hearing no questions. Let's move on with our presentations. We have David Gentry here who is going to talk about Nichols Hill Road. Welcome, David.
Good morning. So I'd like to talk about the safety of Nichols Hill Road, which is, it's about 2 miles off Dixie Highway and 44 west across from Nichols Elementary. We recently received a letter from the post office that they're not going to deliver mail up any longer because it's a safety issue. It's against federal regulations for postal vehicles to back up. And on our road, which is about 3/10 of a mile long, straight up the hill, there's really only one place at the bottom and a blind curve where you can actually pull over and let somebody pass. So if you meet anyone else anywhere on the hill, somebody has to back up, which can be very dangerous, meeting a big truck or another person there has loads people, it'd be really impossible to back a boat up the hill. There's another gentleman who lives up there who is has trucks, he's a landscaper. He actually had a wood chipper, he tried to back it up and went into a ditch. There's been 3 people that have gone up the hill that I know in the past 10 years we've looked up there. So the timing is kind of unique because the water company has actually cut in a second road. They didn't want to use that road either for safety reasons. So it runs parallel up the hill. So what we were hoping is, since that road's already cut in, perhaps we could have a one-way road each way to limit any safety issues. That way no one would have to back up again. It's in good shape. The water company's used it. Probably just needs slate or whatever. And my mom-in-law's here. He actually is in construction. So the residents up there would actually be willing to help as well to do whatever we could do to do this. It's also concerning the winter. The county roads, they'll dump salt, but they actually don't treat the roads as well. So we're hoping that, like I said, for safety issues, we'd like to get 2 roads up there, one each way. I don't think either one's wide enough that you could expand it to make it two lanes either way. So we hope to consider it and help us out.
Let's take it on, let's look at that, Magistrate Ashcroft, here and then comment on the district, right? I want to bring up Joe's hours.
Is that a county road or a private road or a?
Nichols Hill itself is a county road for a little over 0.26, so just about a quarter mile. But it is a county road. It is dangerous.
I know,
It's 1 lane.
and I didn't want to
I'll
stay.
tell you what, let's have Jim, the director, do you mind coming up here so we can hear you better, please? This is an issue that I've heard about for a long time, and I'm Magistrate Ashcroft has as well. So there's a new road that the local water company has built.
Well, they did that just because of the
Dangerous,
Right.
the danger of the Nichols
And
Hill.
some lady was talking about that road and where the local water has putting in something right there off of that road. And she was talking about things have started coming over the hill. I guess she's been animals and stuff.
Well, the question is also,
But it is very dangerous road.
well, can the people utilize the local water company road? Go ahead, take the director.
The little water company come to me for a permit to put the water line up Nichols Hill. And they're drawing short in the middle of the road. And I stated to them, there's only one way I'll allow you to do this, if you hold responsible for that road. If that water line starts leaking, this is on a steep hill, and they'll take it out. talking about, coming up the hill. Check Martin, water company blocked it. I can't go look at it to check it without y'all's permission, because that's private.
Well, I suggest we let the director check the road.
And it has to be dedicated because of use, which I think it is, because the water company goes to the water line.
And this is the local water company, so to speak,
Put
road.
the pump station in Common Hill, pump water up there. I've never liked that hill, it's too dangerous. I don't like my guys to go up it. So what they do is pre-treat it when they can before it snows. They got salt on top of the hill that's covered up with the property of people who live up there, who use a four-wheeler to put the salt down. I tried 20 years, well, I'd say almost 20 years ago, get up that hill during the snow and ice with 18-ton truck, and you can't do it. I mean, you just, no way.
Nichols Hill Road you're talking.
Right. And all I can see when I'm sliding back down is that power station back.
Now, like I said, I think this fiscal court should ask you, director, to look at the road installed by the local water company and let's see what we can do about this situation, but let the manager speak.
Well, like I say, I would have done it, I can't do it on Power Road without y'all's permission to do it. And I got to get the property owner's permission too.
Which my father actually owns most of the land with that road, which is good.
How many houses are up there?
I think there's 7 houses, 7 families up there.
Is there any possibility that we could use Little Water Road as well as the road that's there to make it, of course, that's probably that's only just so far up, isn't it? Because I think,
It goes all the way up now, the water company road goes all the way up.
Oh, does it?
Goes on to.
when I was up there, they were just starting.
Yeah, yeah, it needs some work, it's, like I say, it's pretty rough right now, but it needs some work.
If they gave their permission, maybe could we go ahead and compile both of those together and make it wide enough where they can pass?
The one that, new road you're talking about?
Yeah, put our road and
I
their
would
road.
rather do that, and if this road looks good enough and it's less than the 12% slope like in the ordinance, y'all getting ready to work on. I'd rather see you condemn this other road, the whole road, because it is too dangerous. I'd rather see you do that and take this up new road and fix it where you use.
But if
I'd
we,
rather not use one going one way and one going the other way, because it's a dangerous deal. If you go up it, and you
okay,
you slide off.
if this court condemns Nichols Hill Road, that's the one you're talking about, right?
And I condemn it, you have another way to fall.
Okay, if this court condemns Nichols Hill Road, then is that gonna put some problems on David, you and Mr. Abel, and the rest of the folks?
You let me go look at the road first.
I have pictures, but like
Oh, I
I
know that, I just want to get information from the people who live there.
Judge, we can't, I can make a legal determination of what we can do until Jimmy goes and looks at the
Well, I
road.
understand that, but I'm going to ask the people who live there, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts is, well, if one lane is going up the hill, if we can get it wider enough, it'd be fine. But otherwise, I'm just out here to donate the ground that goes up the hill. Me and my brother own it, so I'm donating it to the water company to put the water line in. They got an easement up that hill. So if we can use that easement to go up that hill, one way or the other, I don't know whether it's feasible to have 2 roads or not. That's double maintenance, you know what I'm saying? But if we could go up one side and come down the other, that's gonna create a problem with federal government, as far as backing up.
Okay, I'm assuming that you all can use one road. If all this gets passed, if all this gets through, that you can use one road, and that's the road that was installed by the Louisville Water Company. And don't even utilize the Nichols Hill Road. Now, am I not thinking right?
we could do it either way, we'd be happy either way.
Okay.
I'm just not sure if the road the water company cut in is wide enough in certain spots, but, whoever can make that.
That's right.
We would be happy either way, two one-lane roads, or take the new road and make it wide enough. Either way, we'd be fine.
Okay.
That's what I was wondering, if
Thank
it's
you.
wide enough to.
It is in places, but I don't think the new road would be wide enough for 2 dedicated lanes, but you'll have to make that determination.
The thing of it is, this hill, I cannot widen it or fool with it, because the engineer says that this hill is on a slate rock, slate That's why it's like, I don't even have to move it up to the guardrail.
Yes, good point. There's only like 175 foot section of guardrail, so it's almost 3 cents a mile long, so if someone goes over the edge, it's gonna be bad.
So, our next step is, this fiscal court needs to,
Legal standpoint, once I go look at it, see what we've got, trying to determine the easement of the road, look it up and see if the MS road.
but first, this court needs to ask you to look at it. Am I correct? Okay, so that looks like to be our next step.
And once y'all do that, then what we export, then they need to be permission.
Okay, any questions from the court?
Make a motion to authorize Director Jimmy Stivers to investigate this local water company road and possible use.
I'll second that motion. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? And so now giving you permission to go look at it and,
Now, the discussion permission.
oh, okay, well, I can't give permission for them.
I need permission, Ronnie. He's got permission to come over.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's up to them. And, go look at the road, and then how about, we are, Director, can you, give us a report at the next fiscal court meeting? Or was that too quick?
All right. See if I can. Because I have shoot elevation on it and check the cost of the easement.
So the director's gonna try to give us a report at the next fiscal court meeting on this situation. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? And Ms. Raymond, you call the roll?
Ms. Ashcraft? Yes. Mr. Matt?
Yes.
Mr. Laszlo?
Yes.
Mr. Bradshaw?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you, Mr. Abel. And if you want to come back to the next fiscal court meeting, which will be, help me out, you all. What date?
Maybe a night.
December the 3rd at 6 p.m. right here.
Would y'all like to see the pictures or?
Give me some information. Thank you, David. We'll just keep that information, David, for a bit, okay? And Miss Dorothy Biddle. Miss Dorothy Biddle is a student at Bellarmine University, and she's going to talk to us about a health issue. And you also brought your mom. It's very nice to meet your mom. You want to introduce her real quick?
Yes, this is my mother, Martina York. She's from Meade County, where I'm originally from.
And we welcome you. Mom's very special. Yes. Go ahead, Ms. Biddle.
Thank you, Judge Melanie Roberts, for allowing me to address the physical court this morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Dorothy Biddle, and I'm a student at Bellarmine University in the RN to BSN program. My assignment in the class called Nursing 400 Health Policy was to pick a health policy at the local level that I felt needed to be changed. There are a lot of health issues I could have picked, but cigarette smoking is the one that has constantly haunted me all my life. My father was a heavy smoker the majority of his life, starting at age 13. I was exposed to secondhand smoke most of my childhood. My children never had the opportunity to know or meet either one of their grandfathers because of their premature death related to smoke-related illnesses. But this is the past, and I would like to concentrate on the future of Bullitt County. I would like to share with everyone the continuation of smoking haunting my personal life. My husband and I lived in Bullitt County for 26 years. We moved to Bullitt County from Meade County in order to have be closer to a better job market. We have raised our children in Mount Washington area. I have tried to raise my children on the model of leading by example. My husband and I are not smokers, and neither are any of the extended family members that my children were exposed to growing up. So according to theory, my adult children should be non-smokers, right? Wrong.
My 25-year-old son is a tobacco user on a daily basis. My 28-year-old daughter states, "I only smoke, Mother, in social gatherings." Until the day I draw my last breath, I will continue to destroy any of their tobacco products I can get my hands on. As a mother and a full-time registered nurse of 30 years, I can't express the monumental emotional despair I feel knowing my children smoke. I'm aware of the health problems they are facing in their future, and this knowledge wears on my heart. So where did my adult children get the message that it was okay to use tobacco products? My husband and I were definitely not perfect parents, but setting an example for good health habits were covered extensively. I don't feel like it's necessary for me to educate everyone here on the health risks of smoking and secondhand smoke. Nor is it necessary for me to tell you the billions of healthcare dollars spent every year on smoke-related illnesses. There is no doubt in my mind that everyone here today is well educated on this subject. But as I prepared for this speech and trying to find a cause for my children's smoking habits, this is what I learned. According to Kentucky State Data Center, about 30.5% of the people in Bullitt County smoke, compared to 23% in the U.S. The percentage of high school students that smoke in Bullitt County is 31%. The state of Kentucky is 25%, and the U.S. percentage is 23%. Wow. I know we can and want to correct this percentage. According to the report by the CDC in 2012, 88% of adult smokers smoke daily stated they started smoking before the age of 18. Every day in the U.S., nearly 40,000 kids younger than 18 smoke their first cigarette. An estimated 1,000 youth in the age group now daily smokers. That means 400,000 young people become daily smokers each year. Let us get back to our home in Bullitt County. What can we do as a community to set an example for our children and young adults? There are many things at the community level can do to reduce smoking. According to the CDC, a smoking ban in public places is one way to reduce youth smoke. I feel that it is a strong possibility that my children receive the message that it was okay to smoke from the community that they are surrounded by. So I'm asking and pleading with my public officials today to pass the smoke-free Bullitt County ordinance in order to set a better example for our youth and provide a healthier environment for everyone in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dillon. Any questions from the board?
I think that's something, bringing up this. I was in the county attorney's office a while back, checking on some issues we had with smoking, and I don't think anybody's aware of it, but I don't think there's a state law or a county ordinance that prohibits smoking in any of these buildings, and there's no penalty for it. I mean, they can actually, people can fire up in any of these courthouses they want, and I can't do nothing about it. So it may be something important, maybe want the county attorney to do is draft up an ordinance making these buildings at a minimum smoke-free, because, I mean, we've got the emergency smoke signals going up right now at the other courthouse. So it's something y'all may want to consider, because I don't have the power to stop anybody from it, so maybe something more to think about.
The sheriff's talking about the judicial center. I think most people think, and I think we thought prior to doing research on that you couldn't smoke in the state building. But when it comes to judicial centers, apparently the General Assembly did not want, have to be the one to make that decision. So they left it upon the local governments and the penalties So it says, yeah, you can't do it, but it's left it to you all to enforce that, pass an ordinance, and give a penalty.
For the government buildings?
Yeah, for ours and for the state, because a lot of people think you can't smoke in state building, and that's generally true. But the way the KRS is written on that, they did not go so far as things, they left it up to the local folks to decide.
So we need to make a motion for you to draw the ordinance.
You don't have to make a motion. If you want me to do it, you can tell us to do it, and we'll get on it. But you have to tell us.
I don't smoke, so and I'd rather not have secondhand smoke, so I would say I would be for it, yes.
Joe?
Joe choose. We have enough for the county building.
And the judicial center.
Are you a smoker, Sheriff?
Yes, ma'am, I'm proud of it, I am.
Just checking.
He goes down.
I don't think so. Anytime I smoke, it is a bad habit, but, I make sure it is away from other people. And, I don't think people, excuse me, I don't think people smoking in these buildings. When you go over there, there'll be 6 or 8 attorneys over there smoking upstairs, and so it's a lot of the death over there, and it's just tolerated, it's permitted. I think it's wrong.
If we do that, then they're not gonna be able to smoke either, right?
The rest, nobody can. I mean, that's what it should be anyway. You should.
So that's what the sheriff wanted to do, so we got a little bit into it, just to clean up the mess and the smell and get the carpets cleaned, and then we found out there, really the state passed it over to you all.
Well, I think we need to have the county attorney draw an ordinance that no one, including attorneys or judges or whatever, smoke in any of the government buildings. And I don't know what would make how we would make them pay, for say you got a car.
So you're allowed to confine it to a certain amount.
Well, let's do that and you do an ordinance.
Yes. Go ahead.
Would this just be on any, excuse me, any tobacco product or just smoke pipe?
I think any tobacco product. Because if you chew, you're going to have cancer in your mouth.
She did snuff, so no.
But I think we need to include that because you don't want everybody to hurt you.
It's been a few weeks since I looked at it, so I'm gonna have to look exactly what the KRS says related to that, and that's what would be in our ordinance. I'm not sure it's in there. Just a second, but I'll check.
We have another question on the audience saying,
Well, I was thinking that chewing doesn't affect only the person that's chewing. I thought we were talking about secondhand smoke. And we're talking about, we're trying to protect the person himself.
It really affects a lot of people. If you have to clean up the floor where they spit. So, I would say any product because these people will spit anywhere. I know that for a fact.
Well, I noticed that Mr. Laz no longer, he chews during fiscal court, but he's not doing that anymore.
okay, is action to read on this, County Attorney?
Actually, I have someone else to read that.
Okay, is action needed on that?
If, I would be glad to do this, but just like everything else, if we were going to spend the time to do it, do we have, is this something you all want done? One person has told me is Ruby. Okay. Is it something,
I agree with you.
okay.
Oh, let me go ahead and get this on.
So are we gonna have the county attorney doing one thing so we don't smoke in one part of the county, and we're fighting another one so we do smoke in this part of the county?
Can I answer that? Because we've got about a little less than 30 days before our brief's due to the Supreme Court on the, you're talking about the smoking case, right? The crux of that case was not about whether this court can pass regulation, because they most certainly can.
But
It was about, can someone pass regulation and tell them what to do? They can always regulate, and they've known that from the beginning. No one's actually, since I've been here, has come in and asked me to do that until now.
why don't we just smoke on one side of Salt River and not on the other?
Well, this is about their own buildings, and if you do look at state law that regulates this, if you want the real answer, if you look at state law, that is actually how the KRS is divided. They start with the buildings that they own, and then there are certain areas that they have regulated on over and beyond that. And quite frankly, I think that they may have decided to take over the whole issue, and that the Supreme Court will decide. But that is consistent with what the law is.
Do you think you will win the fight where you're appealing that?
I have absolutely no idea, but I would hate what it would mean for America if the people you elected to write your laws were no longer who controlled your laws, and it was done by administrative agencies. I find that quite frightening.
Okay, Kevin.
I have a question for you all as you go forward with this, assuming you do. You're saying the word building. When they go outside the doors, what are your thoughts regarding public and employees so that the public customers can get in and out of these buildings? I think that's something you all need to consider as you go forward with this.
Oh, I do too, because over at the Judicial Center, they're around those containers that has sand in them, down the bottom of the step up on, as you come out the door, all the time, smoking and putting them out. I don't have anything against, I think that's their personal opinion, I mean, that's their personal right. But when you go and you're standing right there and people are going in and out, then they're going to get you. I think some of theirs secondhand smoke. So I think that maybe if we could make that ordinance to state that, not around doors or whatever,
It's cold out there though.
Well, maybe we should smoke. John, what's your thought?
Currently, I do not smoke. About 20, 30 years ago, I smoked for about a period of 10 years. I decided to quit. I felt it was not healthy for me. Saying that, I also am a very strong individual rights person. I'm very careful about making a new law that would violate individual rights. Now, the secondhand smoke problem, that gets into a gray area, no pun intended, where an individual is exhibiting their right to smoke, but the smoke then gets in the nostrils of somebody standing next to them, which is maybe not fair to that person. So I understand what you're saying. I don't like to breathe somebody else's smoke either. I avoid it. I think controlling smoking in government buildings like this courthouse or the Judicial Center probably is a good idea, because people are required to go into those buildings whether they want to or not. And if somebody else is smoking, you're going to be forced to go by that person smoking. So on a closely controlled environment, I could probably go along with a no smoking rule in those buildings. But I will say that I'm against the smoking ban totally out there in the county where there's trees and wind and, open spaces. But again, it's my concern somebody wants to make a new law to control your individual rights. In my mind, the less laws there are, the better off you are. We just need to be responsible individuals, treat each other like we like to be treated, be nice to your neighbor, be considerate. You won't need so many laws. So that's my position.
Joe, what's your right?
Yeah, that's,
Oh, I thought you said.
was a smoke-free, building, county building.
I think, they're talking out about third-hand smoke. I never did, I've heard them, but I never understood what they were talking about.
Well, I'm also a registered nurse at Cozair. I work in the ICU with kids. And where that comes into play is, as a parent, I have a child that has asthma. And I smoke. I go outside. I'm courteous and I go outside and I smoke and it's on my clothes. Then I come back into the home and I hold my child. That is the third-hand smoke that's on my clothes, and it has been proven statistically that that can trigger an asthma attack on that child. So I agree with you on the right of, I have a lot of friends in Mount Washington that smoke. I have a whole group of ladies that I hang out with and go out with, and most of them are smokers. But they're extremely courteous smokers. They don't smoke in their own homes. They don't even smoke in their own cars. And when we get together, you know, a group of ladies, if they want to smoke, they step outside on the back deck and they smoke their cigarettes. They don't even smoke in their own personal space. And I agree that everybody deserves their rights, but, and the reason you quit because you felt that it wasn't healthy. And that's very true. It isn't. It's premature death. And not a pleasant death either, bottom line. You have taken care of those patients too. But I think if you choose to smoke, that's okay. That's your adult decision. But every place that I go into in the public of Bullitt County, whether it be a restaurant, the courthouse, any public place that invites the public in, I think they owe us a responsibility of clean air. They owe us the responsibility of a good fire exit. They owe us several things to keep us safe. And if you got it passed for the court system, you know, when I come pay my car taxes and stuff, and it was smoke-free, I think that's a wonderful start. I think that's a wonderful start, and I feel very blessed that you heard me today, if we start at there. Because that gives you all clean air to work in on a daily basis, and that's important.
Okay, so from what this board is saying, County Attorney, I believe, correct, it makes sense for here to have something up for the public buildings, the county system, the county government system.
I think the people that come out over there, and I'm not saying anything against them or anything, but it's going to be hard for them to obey when we put the signs up, get the ordinance passed. It's going to be tough on them.
It was tough downtown at Morton's. I worked at Morton's back in the day. I can remember going to staff meetings and sitting in a room, and the smoke just about killed me for the hour that I had to sit through that meeting. But I had no rights at that point. But Morton's has gone smoke-free, and they did it slowly. How they started was educate the people on what smoking does. Then they started it by, and I would love to see my tax dollars spent on giving Joe Smith nicotine patch or nicotine gum. I'd love to see my tax dollars spent on that. And then you just take it step by step, and then people become generally courteous smokers.
I cringe when I go past the vehicle that's got children in it, and the parent is smoking in the window.
Well, we eventually get those kids at Cozair.
Probably, yeah. But they're just, they're just not, I don't know, the word
It's an education. It really is an education. And I sit and I educate parents every day at work on second and third hand smoke. And I educate them, and some of them I've even got doing it. If you're right to smoke, So take a jacket, cover your clothes, go out and smoke, come back in, leave the jacket outside, or in an off room from the house where the child is not exposed to that jacket. That way, it's a win-win situation. The parents get to smoke, and the kid's not exposed.
Ms. Bill, when we get the ordinance from the county attorney, if you would like, our office will contact you to let you know when the first reading will be given to fiscal court, or when the first reading will occur here in fiscal court.
Okay?
That'd be all right?
Yes.
So you can try to be here.
Yes, I will. You give me enough time. I usually work on Tuesdays, but I can switch my schedule. I work Sundays, so I can be home.
Yeah, we'll give you ample time.
Okay.
Thank you, you made a very good presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bill.
Thank you.
And now we have Wayne Jordan, who wants to talk about the rock quarry out in the north end of the county. Good morning, Wayne.
Morning, Judge. Thanks, Judge. Speaking on behalf of myself and the residents that live down in Bell's Mill, I've contacted many of them. We've got some issues going on where the trucks that come out of the quarry are spilling gravel on Bell's Mill. They spill it at Preston and Bell's Mill. They spill it at Harper Highway in Preston, I-65 interchange. Creates a dangerous environment for drivers and especially motorcycle riders. I was informed yesterday that they are allowed to carry 80,000 pounds of stone. That's all well fine and good if it all stayed in trucks, but apparently it isn't. The other is, I was informed that they go through a truck wash with the wheels as they come out. Here again, it's all fine and well and good, but they're dragging this sludge out on the Bell's Mill. And all of us that live and travel up and down this road, and especially when it rains, we're getting this liquid cement all over our vehicles. There are laws in the state of Kentucky that it's a misdemeanor, a $500 fine for spilling their contents of their trucks on the highway. I notified motor vehicle enforcement. I can't actually testify that these trucks are overloaded, but if you look at that road down through there, our everyday vehicles aren't crushing that road. I think it's the trucks. Apparently they didn't see fit to come out and try to weigh any of these trucks. But on behalf of the residents that utilize these highways, we're asking for some relief if something can't be done about the pollution on the road. And in the wintertime, when you got the sludge out there, and the highway department comes down and treats it, now it turns into a sludge ice rink. And it's a very hazardous situation all the way up and down through there.
Do they, of course, I know the sludge is still going to be down on the road because it comes out the tailgate, but do they not park their loads of rock?
They're loaded to the gills. They got the tarp, they got the extra boards up the side, but when they turn, the gravel comes out, they turn this way. You go up there and look at that intersection, I mean, I could go up there every day and end up graveling the driveway if they have gravel driveway.
I think the Department of Transportation needs to be made aware of this. And also maybe if our sheriff's department might have a guy that's not doing anything, which I know that's true.
I've had a lot of experience in process on those too. And
Oh, yeah.
hiring running the vehicle. We write everybody, we possibly write them to see them do that, and do this extra control out there.
I'd say one officer could probably make you salary there without a problem.
If the DOT's out there, they can weigh them right there on the spot and get them right there and there, or turn around so they're not to get.
Well, and the other thing to me, it's like a form of pollution where they're dragging this dust and everything out on the bills. And they're not required to keep it clean in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. Any other business would be required to keep their property and the frontage of their property clean. But apparently, there's nothing ever done up there. But
Do you
I
think
appreciate
that's
y'all's
the
time.
right route to take, Sheriff? To contact DOT?
We don't have the ability to weigh any trucks or anything as far as, vehicles being overweight.
Well, I know you all
Yeah,
don't, but
yeah.
does the Department of Transportation, isn't that who
Motor vehicle.
watches the vehicles that they check with the health rep to see if the corrective legal is going.
Have you talked to the cities, Pioneer Village and Hillview? Because that's all their area up there.
I know some people who live over there, we've all got the same complaint, because when this comes up, it's like, oh, yeah.
I'm just thinking for police departments, that's their cities, okay, that all that is happening in. You might, well, if you're up by the rock,